Welcome back to Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime, the segment where I bring you the most horrific creepypastas that were ever written, ever, is what the author thought at some point during the process before it was uploaded, and then it turns out they weren't very good stories. And today's story is no such exception. Or maybe it is. I don't know. So, let's just hop into it. Why dilly-dally, as it were. Today, we'll be going into the famous tale, known simply as Sonic the Hedgehog Lost Episode. Can anyone help me out here? Okay, well, we didn't need the A at the beginning of the sentence, so we are one sentence into this story, and already things have fallen apart. But I'm looking for a lost episode of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sure some of you remember. If you're from the northern part of Virginia, well, I'm out. That's way too specific for this. And watch The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. You may have seen this. Some backstory first. Oh, thank God. The prequel. I saw this when I was 8. When I first recall seeing this episode, the number of said episode is 66. Well, that's the scary number where it's a 9, except it's upside down. But yes, episode 66 of season 1, and in parentheses, there was only one season. It was a very popular show, and was only aired in Northern Virginia, as the broadcasting station had ignored the notice not to play the final episode of the bundle due to extreme adult content. This time, Tails is gonna smoke 2 cigarettes, or maybe 3. This was the station's choice, as it had purchased the syndication rights in its area, its small little area, but was later sued by concerned parents after several children were diagnosed of light neural hemorrhaging. It's a TV show, causing severe nightmares and vomiting. Suck it up. Go back to school. Nobody was killed by viewing the episode, so we have no issues. And older viewers seemed immune to the effects. Well, they got shots earlier in their life, the Sonic the Hedgehog immune vaccines of the 1930s. But yeah, they were immune to the effects of whatever caused the bleeding. But needless to say, a freeze was put on the production of the series and was hushed up on the news. Sega paid off the news. Fact. The show was replaced by the series named simply Sonic the Hedgehog. A creative name, give it that. I started my search for the episode after the nightmares from watching returned after 16 years. Also, I was thinking in doubles. The nightmare was vivid. It contained vision of people. Alright, in a long line, all of them clutching their faces in despair. The people in the line spread the full length of the street and had seemingly abandoned their cars. Alright, and in parentheses, leaving the doors open, end of parentheses, to join the others waiting. Everyone likes lines, I guess, but everyone was deathly thin. They were nude. Some reason, and when they spoke, they did so in what sounded like reverse tongues, but not much was said in between the helpless sobs. Everything had a dark red tone to it, though, like the sun was burning out at sunset, but never fully went down. Those that were not in the line. Okay, I think you're doing this on purpose, but I appreciate it. Those that were not in the line littered the street, dead. Period. I can't recall much from the dream other than that A lot of help you are, main character. Some other details into that looting. Things like a line of dead riot police and smashed windows, upturned cars, and even a collapsed skyscraper in the distance. But those in line paid no attention to this. They got a more interesting thing going on. They got a line that's going in directions. Forget about this stuff. They simply sobbed as the line shifted forward. Good feels all around. The nightmare ends with one of the members of the line looking directly at me. He says nothing but shifts to an unnatural pose. His arms bent at 45-degree angles and his legs spread into a box over the ground. His mouth agape as he did this. The rest of the people in the line did the same, striking a slightly different twisted pose, all looking at me. I then awoke with tears in my eyes. What? My first logical step to finding this lost episode, why would you want to find it, was the station which originally aired it. There is nothing odd about the station. That's disappointing. Its old management was long since moved on. Committed suicide. Days from retirement. As the new manager pointed out to me, was that the first thing he said when you walked in? Oh, by the way, not to bring it down, but over a cup of coffee. The best part of waking up. Over a cup of coffee, me and the new manager, that's his name, discussed the station's past. I intentionally eased into the subject. Lost episode! And as it turned out, I was right to do so. When I brought up the subject, John, he has a name now, and in parentheses, is he will now be known. Is he will now be known. Right on. That makes sense. I love this. The manager literally spilling his coffee on his lap. Aw, dip. He told me that this subject was a personal one to him. And as it turns out, John was the original owner's son. He was kind enough to explain to me that the legal fees he was The legal fees he was receiving in conjunction with the mail he was receiving, he's receiving multiple things, from children and parents alike, had pushed him too far, and he hung himself in the family kitchen. Why in the family kitchen? So nice in there. I was a little taken back by this news, even though it's really not that much of a revelation, but, whatever. I'm easily shocked. So I figured maybe I was digging too deep and decided to drop this madness and just call it a day. But before I could exit John's office, he told me that he would send me the mail. Don't do it, John! His reasoning, ... that, there's also a space, I'm sorry, that he wanted me to know what happened. His curiosity was almost as deep as mine. Not surprising considering the episode killed his father. Well, not directly. I mean, the episode did not, point a gun at your father, ask it for money, and then bang, oh no, and then you turned into Batman, because that would have been interesting. But, I told him I'll take a deeper look into the subject and get back to him on anything I dig up on Wikipedia. The letters, where as you would expect. Did you replace were every instance of were in the story with where instead? Because I appreciate that. It really, I think, brings a lot to this universe. Angry mothers, though, asking what kind of station would air this filth. This one, clearly. Legal fees ranging in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in parentheses, enough to send any station broke in the 90s. I wonder where those statistics come from. And of course, drawing from children, depicting scenes from the episode, distinct things, like the blood and the unusually dull colors that persisted throughout the episode, like red. Horrible things, though. Things like Robotnik vomiting blood and Tails crying over the corpse of feathered headless bird. Wait, feathered headless bird? Not my favorite character, feathered headless bird. But one letter caught my attention specifically. It was a letter from the studio which produced the series. Thank you for purchasing the rights to air Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Incorporated Sega, 1993 through 1994. All rights reserved. Enclosed are spooky ghosts, you're haunted, and also is a series list, episode descriptions, episodes 1 through 66, the entirety of season 1, and legal information regarding ratings and airtimes. In poor handwriting, at the bottom of the page, a scrawled note was placed with the words, Episode 66 is not to be aired. This is a database error and contains corrupted material. Tails smoking. The initials JS followed. I set out to find this episode, but to no avail. That's a terrible way to end your paragraph. We could be setting off on an adventure, but no, I'm just going to destroy the adventure before that happens. My second plan, though, because I'm full of them, was to ask the people who sent the angry letters about the episode, about their take on it. Let's say about more times, please. Those who had not moved away. This television show is terrible. We're moving away. To a different state that doesn't show this kind of crap. But yeah, those who had not moved away because of the terrible TV gave me a canned, I don't know, or not this again, or stop coming to my house responses, but I did chance upon one man around my age who remembers and taped the episode. He invited me in and showed me his VHS copy of the episode. It was badly decayed from years of neglect. I smash it with a hammer on a regular basis, so there are neglect reasons from the years over the VHS. And also, allegedly, it was in the garage, and only bits of it I could make out was Tails screaming at Sonic, as he does, with tears in his eyes. How could you, Sonic? What have you done? And the rest of the episode on the tape was just static. They were cutting corners to save on animation. The occasional scream and twisted figures, you still gotta pay the voice actors. Not animals or people, but figures staring at the viewer. You mean like stick figures? Their circular mouths. Yeah, that could be. Let's not rule it out. And open black eyes emitting a slight screech. The tape sent chills up, out, spine. What? The tape sent chills up, out, spine, and I asked if I could take the tape because I'm going to explore this up, out stuff a little more. I was doing into the episode. Oh, wait. So I could take the tape for the research. I'm sorry, some of this is worded terribly. But I want to take this tape for research I was doing into the episode. That's a complete thought, kinda. He agreed quite readily. Please, take this horrible, haunted tape. There's messed up sentences in my life. Just take it. And then this individual was cured, and now the author, who's a dope, now they're stuck with it forever. I promised to keep him updated, though, as well as John. I've already forgotten who John is. I took the tape back to John. Oh, this is awkward. And we watched it up to about 15 minutes. Okay. Where John just jumped back in his seat. Like on the top part of his seat. He told me he saw the figure with black eyes. That could be any character. But it spoke for a brief moment. Yes, it was. There should be an A in there, probably, but whatever. John claimed its lips moved. Not its lips moved. What? Mouthing the word he, though, was eternity. We watched that same 1 second flash for what must have been 30 times, and each time we both attempted to freeze the frame on the figure, only to have it disappear when we did so. I called it a day there. We needed a better copy of the episode. If we were to... You did replace were with where, you monster. To find out why this episode ended the entire series and caused me nightmares for much of my childhood. Short of traveling to France. Oh, come on. Side story. Lost episode, goes to France, and it's all written in French, and I would try and read it. But short of traveling to France, because this story can't afford that. Look at our budget. And talking to the animation studio. I don't know French. How am I supposed to talk to them? I gave them a call. But I still didn't talk. I still didn't speak French. It was a weird call. But they bluntly told me that there was no episode 66 and that 65 was the full season. Episode 65 was the full season. Oh my god. Knowing this dead end, I called again for another phone. I'm assuming from another phone. So that's smart right there. And asked for the contact information of the voice actors, which I hope for convenience they just happened to hand out. All the information was out of date, it seemed. Really? For a show in the 90s, the actors for Robotnik, Scratch, Grounder, and Sonic all giving me number not in service. Okay, which Sonic cartoon are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that had Jaleel White in it? Because, of course, Jaleel White is not going to fucking answer your phone call. However, I did manage to contact Christopher Evan Welch, the voice of Tails, and hook him for a fake interview about his roles in 90s television? Hey, I want to do an interview on you about your roles in 90s television, but it's actually a ruse and it's a trick. I mean, please? Chris turned up, as you would expect. He wasn't doing anything. As you would expect. Author's a real jerk. Casual clothing, smile on his face, comma, your average guy in his late 20s. As he sat down, I asked him about some of his roles in bands and television and worked my way to Sonic. When I did get there, however, he got really quiet. Oh no. Quiet would have been... That would have been good. He also became evasive. He was quite evasive. I asked him specifically about episode 66, and halfway through, taking a breath, he just stopped. His pupils almost too Sonic. What? When I did get there, however, he got... Oh, I'm sorry, I read a sentence 2 times. I'm so confused. Oh, I'm haunted by Sonic. he retracted into nothing, and he looked at me and told me, "Don't worry about it, Yuri, When this story's not that good. Don't you can screw it up. We'll still love you." But and he also told me that the episodes only go up to 65. Of course, I knew better and asked him about his script, talking to Sonic and what he had done. He grabbed his face like in Home Alone, not in frustration, but to wipe back his eyes, which were begging to well up. He took a deep breath and told me, "Don't read another sentence 2 times." Also, that the episode was written by Jeffrey Scott. Just gonna throw people under the bus. He told me the usual, that, he was always a nice man. I don't believe that. And he was very patient with him as he read the script, and in parentheses, being 11 at the time, you were the voice actor. But as the first season drew to a close, Jeffrey had become very angry with everyone, including 11-year-old Chris. The voice actor for Robotnik and Sonic threatened to quit over his behavior, or get Steve Urkel involved. Potentially, maybe. I don't know what cast this is. But the executive producer paid them both large sums of cash. Maybe it was Steve Urkel on the show, actually. In right there to read from the script Jeffrey had written. Apparently, Jeffrey had an order from high up, the top of Sega, or as far as Chris knew at the time, to produce this episode, listed as a business priority. It's a business priority that we scare children. I'm just saying. Priority, business, by Sega. Chris explained to me how, as they read the script, he felt great sorrow and terror, as if they had lost a close friend or family member, or had seen them die before them. He told me of the scarring to his vocal cords from the screaming that was invoked by reading the script. He told me of the blood that leaked from the mouths of the actors. I'm pretty sure this would have made it to the news or something. Of Robotnik and Sonic. Jaleel White's doing fine, I think. Maybe. I hope. The session ended with the security pulling the actors from the studio before they died in the process of recording from blood loss. His mother pulled him from the show the next day. Fearing for his safety, I stopped the interview there. I asked for a copy of the episode, but a copy was never sent to the actors. Why not? Hey, here's a fun memory. But that is as far as I have come in the search for episode 66. I've heard that there may be a copy in the studio in France, but I no way of getting there. It's the wrong there as well, so this is great. On my budget. Again, look at this story. But I know it exists, and I know many more out there must have a VHS copy. So this is why I ask the internet. Help me in my search. And then the story ends. So, yeah. That was pretty enthralling stuff. I'll never be able to look at Sonic the Hedgehog the same again, or stop feeling like an idiot for reading that sentence 2 times. It's sad that's my major takeaway from the story. I read that sentence twice. It's so dumb. But this isn't real, by the way. Don't waste any time on this. But this video was real, but this has been bullshit Creepypasta Storytime. Thank you for watching. And what the end slate is going on over yonder? Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed the new video, and welcome back to End Slate, the slate where things are ended. And I ramble and think. I hope you all enjoyed the new video of Spooky Finger Puppet Ghost Month, video 3 of 5. It was dumb. Go figure. Social media stuff. If you like the video and you want to like it and leave a comment or something so the algorithm thinks my channel isn't crap, that'd be appreciated. I have a Twitter if you're into that kind of thing. And if you want to support me on Patreon, that's also an option. But, speaking of Patreon, there's a lot of, really nice people who support me on Patreon. And the least I can do is some exclusive stuff for them every once in a while, but also thank them at the end of videos. So let me just say, thank you Maji and Kiki Erzabet, Chandler Parrish, Makella, Rage Magic Carp, Rabbit, Skinny 720. That sounds like a skateboard move. I'm just saying. This just occurred to me. Thank you Young Silver, DK, Best Common Rider. Thank you Bradley Harder. Thank you Klodek. Whoops, I screwed up. Thank you, come watch my Twitch streams. That's the username. I would never say that. Thank you, Fernando Silva. Thank you, Glad Goku. Hey, it's Brad, Lily Starflame, Michael Holder II, Nolan Billings, Cedars PhD, Static Peaches, the Epi Man. Running into another slight issue. Come on, there you go. Thank you, Euk, and Orderly Chaos, Purin, A Pickle, Anal Bag, Andrew Silverman, and Evil Ghost. Oh! Angel Bane, Astro Antonio, Butter Pecan, Butterscotch. I keep thinking about it. Thank you, though. Thank you, Captain Loser, and Derek Chapman, Dez, aka Is That So, Dylan Swenson, Elfrey684, shout outs to that thing making noise in front of the microphone. That's great. Thank you, Faded Novelty Mug, Joe Mortfolio, John Mayer, Joseph Almodovar, Kami Moon, Keitaro, Lenny Barks, Link the 8th, Nikki Layman, Ninja Star Compass. That's a good name. Thank you, Orfano, The Adoptable. Would someone adopt them? Thank you, Painful Choice, Quack, Rad R, River Casey, Arpie Spies, Sarah Salmon, Colurian. Let's say that incorrectly and different every late. Thank you, Scarlet Robin. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Scott Labar, Sean Cartar, Shillick, Sir Doodles a lot, Slickster, Maxtastica. I just read a stupid story. I'm sorry. But thank you, SMK, as well, and Snooper, and Soft Shell, the class-changing Taco, who has a shell, so it's a defensive class, I imagine. What are the stats? I don't know, but thank you. Thank you, Storm Strider and the Storm household. Storm it out. Thank you, Wheels on the Busco, Die, and the Club Rocker, the R9 and RE4, the anticipation as the remake comes. It's unbearable, as I tell you. A lot is riding on that one weapon. Thank you, Tim Klomp, Trevor Marquez, Vispire, XX Dark Blaze, X25, Zachary Alexander, Ludwig, Finn the Human, John Paul Hoare, Ragnar the Green. Thank you for running Discord, because I'm scared of it. Although I do hop in every once in a while when I can. Yeah. Thank you, everyone who supports me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you. That noise is kind of ruining the atmosphere of the moment, but it still rings true. let's check and see how long I've been slating the ends. Oh, about 5 minutes. That's pretty common. That's our we'll call it the end slate average of how long it takes me to thank people. That's not too bad though. I mean, it probably upsets someone, but I don't care. But thank you all again for everything. I hope you've been enjoying the spooky month. 2 more spooky videos to go. Stop making noises over here to my right. And I will see you all next time on End Slate video. End Slate, where the slates have been ended. Love you all. Toodles.